everyone. Today I wanted to give you roughly a 9-ish month update on our Yardistry greenhouse that we purchased from Costco. We put it together last August, I think, August-ish, and it is now the middle of April. If you haven't watched my first video of when we first put it together and the tour of it, I will link that down in the comments. You'll want to check that out, just so you see what it looks like when it's brand new versus 9 months later. Go ahead and watch that first if you haven't already, and then come back to this video. All in all, I am so pleased and so happy that we did purchase it, and I have utilized it even more than I initially thought. So very pleased, but I did want to share some of the issues that we have run into. There haven't been that many, but just wanted to be honest and forthright with some of those struggles that we have had with it. First, good things. I have been able to utilize it for seed starting. I started most of my seeds in December, January, and some last month as well. I also am a big rose enthusiast and actually propagated some roses last fall and was able to grow them in the greenhouse over the winter, and that has been the biggest surprise for me, is just how incredible it is to have a greenhouse in the wintertime for rose propagation, because those roses put on so much growth just being in the greenhouse, having a consistent nice and warm temperature, compared to what they would be like if I kept them outside in the cold with the fluctuation of cold and hot like we have here where I live. I've utilized the greenhouse not just for my growing seeds and my potted roses. I've also bought it with the intention of storing a lot of my gardening junk. That was kind of the deal I struck up with my husband, that I would take all my gardening stuff out of the garage and put it in the greenhouse, which it definitely has served well for that purpose. I will say, with storing all of my gardening stuff in addition to all the seed starting, I definitely feel like when I was having the most seeds going at one time, that I didn't have enough room. I was basically utilizing just the one side of top shelf and bottom shelf on the right, and yeah, I was running out of space. So if you're somebody who starts a lot of seeds, you may consider going up a size. I know some people install shelves on the non-shelved side of the greenhouse. I don't really want to do that because I'm utilizing it for storing stuff on the ground, and I just feel like it would feel a little claustrophobic in here. So I don't intend on adding shelves. I think for next winter, spring, I will just try to be better and more organized at placing all of my junk and other stuff. And hopefully I'll get a little bit more space from that. So issue number one, I would say, is the running out of space aspect. If you're just gonna start a few trays here and there, or you've just got small, potted plants, like here's one of my roses in here. If you've just got a bunch of these, then I think you'll have plenty of room. But just if you're using seed trays like these, it's just kind of easy to run out of space, I think. The top shelf, you have to place the trays long ways, so basically you can fit like 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you're using the back shelf for storage like I am, then you can only do like 4 trays up top. So obviously there's different methods, but if you're doing seed starting in trays, just got to keep that in mind. With seed starting on the bottom, you can definitely do them that way and fit quite a few, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. So it really is just up to your needs, but just be mindful of how much space you have, and how much you are planning on using or needing. Issue number 2 that we ran into was with the latch for the upper ventilation. It is a heat activated latch where it'll expand when it's warm, and that's what opens up the latch. So it's not something that you control, it's something that it controls by itself. There's not a way for you to, that I've discovered, that for you to do it manually. You're just sort of relying on it doing it for you. And I don't know if you can tell, but at some point over the winter, must have just been a time of fluctuating temperatures, we ran into the issue of the wood expanding such that when the latch tried to open, it got stuck, and it actually bent the lever such that it won't actually open all the way now. It only opens like an inch or 2. So you may just be mindful of that when you're putting it together, that you need to leave some wiggle room for the wood to expand and contract, because we ran into that not only with the latch, but also with the front door as well. The front door warping, we actually needed to put this like weather stripping in the winter time because there was a gap that presented itself once the wood expanded. That wood contraction didn't happen for the first couple of months. It happened a few months in, and so that was a bit of a bummer, especially in wintertime with the front door. When we had our big Arctic blast, I needed to like put the weather stripping, and I was kind of trying to seal it with like a tarp as well. Speaking of cold temperatures, I did find that the greenhouse can retain heat really well if you have a little space heater. So for times where at night where it's going to get way below freezing and you have seed starts, a little space heater works just fine for this size of greenhouse, and I didn't have any issues keeping it warm, which is great. So with that in mind, this greenhouse sure heats up, especially with the broken ventilation hood. It gets really hot. I mean, it can be like 50 outside, and if it's sunny and you have the front door closed, it's hot. So I pretty much since the late winter, if it's sunny outside, I have the front door open. And maybe I wouldn't need to do that as much if the latch worked better, but even when the latch was working, it's just really hot if it's sunny. So I won't be utilizing it, the greenhouse I mean, as we roll into late spring and in the summer. Maybe when fall comes around, I'll start using it again, but its main purpose I have found is to utilize for overwintering plants and seed starting, getting a head start on that as well. So all in all, I am still very, very pleased with the Yardistry Greenhouse. I think if I had to go back, I may consider buying a bigger size just based on what I've found my needs to be. But aside from that, no regrets. I still think that it was an incredible buy for the price that we paid, and I definitely would recommend it to anybody who's looking for kind of a aesthetically pleasing, lower budget greenhouse. It's just been great, and I've loved being in here when it's cold outside, and have loved just the advantage of seed starting in here and overwintering my roses. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns about the greenhouse, I'd love to answer any. If you want to shoot them down in the comments. And if you'd like to follow along for any of my flower growing things this year, I have a lot of new things going on, and I'm always uploading videos with things I'm learning and just what I'm doing. So anyways, thanks for watching and happy gardening.